Welcome to Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM. My name is Lex Tan, host and producer of the show. You can follow me at Lex Tan Media. You can follow the show at Ringside_Heat on all of your social media platforms, as well as Facebook.com/group/Ringside Heat. And the reason why we're doing a cold opening over here is because I would like to, first of all, address the passing of a legendary broadcaster here in this country, Robert Cecil Cole, known by many of his fans, most of his fans around Canada and all over the world, who enjoy hockey and have grown up with hockey in a certain age and era, as Bob Cole, legendary play-by-play broadcaster, who mostly did CBC games, but also participated as well too in the CBC's Hockey Night in Canada, obviously, but also called the World Cups and also called Olympics, including the 2002 Salt Lake City gold medal game between Canada and the United States, which saw the end of the 50-year drought of Canadian gold medals in the Olympics. And I know it's not really a wrestling thing, but I just feel that Bob Cole transcended the world, the genres of broadcasting, and just is one of the greatest broadcasters this country has ever seen and has ever heard. And likes of him will never come back again. He has this unprecedented quality of broadcasting during his prime, and even though in his later years he was flubbing a couple of things, he was still the man to listen to when you wanted to hear great quality play-by-play for any sport, really. But of course, he focused on hockey, and his humility was one of the biggest things as well too about him. He was always thankful that he had another year on TV, on Hockey Night in Canada. He was always thankful for the people that put him there, including Foster Hewitt, the very first hockey broadcaster. He was the one who hired Bob Cole himself and brought him into this world, and eventually ended up giving him, or giving us, the listeners and the viewers of hockey, to a great voice to settle down with on a Saturday night, and left that legacy of excellence that is unprecedented. He was born on June the 24th, 1933, and died this week on April the 24th, 2024, just 2 months shy of his 91st birthday. And you might not know this because, of course, hockey is one thing, but he had anchoring gigs in his native Newfoundland. He was one of the hosts for the student trivia show Reach for the Top, which is a gig that longtime Jeopardy host Alex Trebek once had. So that's a really cool connection there. Bob Cole himself, he started calling hockey in 1969 on CBC radio in Newfoundland, and then started calling for TV in 1973, and became the lead play-by-play guy in 1980 for Hockey Night in Canada until 2008. And of course, during that time, he called mostly Toronto Maple Leaf games alongside Buffalo's Harry Neal, and it was an epic thing every Saturday night to hear those two voices call games. And Bob called at least one game in every Stanley Cup final from 1980 all the way until 2008. He also, as I said, World Cups of hockey, and epic moments that he would call, and just and one thing he would always say is that he wanted to convey to the audience listening at home what the crowd was feeling inside the arena, and also kind of bring the home viewing audience and the arena viewing audience together in that sort of way. And in one way, he put it this way: he said things like, is that the music, it's like he was able to find the melody of the music of the hockey game. And that's something that people just really did resonate with, because he did find the art of play-by-play and broadcasting, and particularly the art of hockey broadcasting as well. And one of my favorite calls that he ever had was the call for the 2002 Olympics. He was so excited when Joe Sakic, or sorry, was it Joe Sakic? Yeah, he when Jerome McGinley scored Canada's fourth goal of that game, he yelled out the hybrid of goal and score because he was so excited. He yelled out "Gore!" which reminded me of Rhino from ECW and WWE at one point. And he said one of his great catchphrases, "The place goes crazy." And his final call as well, too. Now, after 50 years, it's time for Canada to stand up and cheer. Stand up and cheer, everybody. The Olympics, Salt Lake City, 2002, men's ice hockey gold medal, Canada. Simple, to the point, master. That's what he was. And that's some things I need to learn from. From those of you who listen to the show, and thank you so much for listening to the show every week. I want to learn more from what he was able to do. And, his final game even was a old school soirée du hockey in Montreal. Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Canadiens, and the hockey world paid tribute to him during the game, but the game itself paid tribute to him as well. The game actually went through 3 periods of regulation, ending at 5-5, a full 5-minute tilt of overtime action, and then a shootout that went an extra round before rookie Ryan Poehling scored the shootout winner, along with a hat trick in regulation. And what a send-off. What that just a beautiful mix of just circumstance and the love for the game that everybody was putting into that game to pay tribute to this great broadcaster. And he has been sorely missed. And I know as well, too, that it is a tough thing. I mean, everybody's time will come sometime. And he left behind a great career. He led a great life. He has a great family, and he left a great legacy for all of us to admire and to listen to and to learn from. At the same time, it's still I mourn him. I've been mourning him these past few days like I've lost a family member. He was that special to me personally, and he was that special, I know, to a lot of you who have watched hockey during the time that Bob Cole was the lead play-by-play announcer for the Toronto Maple Leafs and for Hockey Night in Canada. And he will be sorely missed. And it's on one end, it is another one of our voices from that time, leaving us behind. At the same time, as Jimmy Corderas would say, thank you for the gift of Bob Cole, and may your memory, Bob Cole, be eternal. We'll be back with wrestling talk coming up just after this break. You're listening to Ringside Heat on Newstalk Sauga 960 AM. Welcome back to Ringside Heat on Newstalk Sauga 960 AM. Lex Tan alongside 2 members of the ring crew. First off, our resident sports journalist, and our new director of digital content at Taboada 93, Jose Taboada. Hey, man, how you feeling about getting the Shane McMahon, Joey Styles treatment?
Director of digital content, huh? I was calling myself a social media coordinator. I don't know where to go with it, but director of digital content. I mean, like it.
like Santino Marella being the director of operations, Is
that a good thing? Wait, hold on a minute. Wait,
Santino Marella is always a good thing.
Of course.
Pronounce John Cena.
In I-N that's spelling.
That's spelling, yeah. The joke is how Santino says it.
Right.
Yeah. John Cena.
When you have to explain your joke, you know it landed.
Yeah.
That voice you also heard is our All Elite Wrestling expert, the returned one, finding his smile again at Risen 72, Colin Dodge.
Who's getting blocked by his name, by the way? On the video. Your name's too long. There we go. Look at that. See, folks, it works. Always remember your centering, folks.
My desk is in a new location. I don't know what's happening.
It works. Actually, I do like the background. I am a fan of this back. I don't think I've ever seen his background from you, Colin, unless I'm crazy.
No, that wall's been there for years. It's just now my desk is pointing at it. So
touche. There you go.
Yep.
See? So it's new. It's new.
art and stuff. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, can I take Chico's job as Impact expert or TNA?
Gladly, you can take all his.
Go ahead,
take all his jobs.
It's getting tough now being the AEW expert. I don't want to know everything that I know, but
believe me, Colin, any job that Chico has, it's all yours. Take everything he has.
I will be the new director of everything else, not WWE. How about that? Can I do that?
The director of non-Logan Paul content. There you go.
He said
Please
it. Normally it's me.
His name.
Normally it's me, but he went there, so you know.
I'm having a tough enough week. We don't, Hey, there's a plug. Remember Tough Enough?
Right, yes, so, there you go. We remember the things you forgot.
I made Jose make that face. Yes, and I'm rejuvenated. 2 years have been added to my life.
Living up to the hashtag. I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan.
How about we start with some positives with AEW? There's like maybe 3 of them, and then we can get into
always the positive.
Yes,
always gotta look at the positives, but please go for it.
Positives first. That's why I'm here. I brought a magazine for when you two start in on the rest. So when you guys get into it, all of a sudden I'll just be reading my Johnny Cash edition of anyway, yeah, that was it was a great magazine. It's a good article. Everybody loves Johnny Cash except Jose when he used him for the entrance for Undertaker, which was a great choice. Ain't No Grave, fantastic song.
I can't sing the word, but yes, it is a solid song. Go for it.
Did someone hurt you that day to know if you still felt? Johnny Cash hurt.
I don't know.
I get
cover 9 Inch Nails.
9 Inch Nails cover, yes.
I'm too young. Go, Colin, go. Let's get it.
Hey, we remember the things you forgot.
We did our first live reaction stream.
Yep.
Historic.
Yeah.
It was great. It was fun.
And it was done for a good pay-per-view. Everything fell apart more after the pay-per-view, but my voice is changing. I'm just so excited now. Yeah, the pay-per-view was quite good. They ensured one match didn't matter because they promoted it in the worst way. And so I didn't care about that match. And I'm surprised Dax isn't more injured than he actually is because of that match. So anyway, starting off the pre-show, at least it had Orange Cassidy and Shibata defeating Shane Taylor Promotions. Shane Taylor Promotions is getting quite a big push, but they keep losing. So I'm not sure exactly how that works. But, still impressive that they're out there. One of my highlights of the entire evening, aside from Swerve and Samoa Joe, was Pac and Okada. Pac brings such an intensity to the ring. There's very few wrestlers that when they're coming to the ring, all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, stuff's going to go down. Stone Cold had that, where like Stone Cold's here, stuff's going to happen.
Yep.
Another wrestler that won't be named also had that. And Pac has that. When he comes to the ring, its intensity goes up as he's just coming down the ramp. And him and Okada put on a fantastic match. Chico's not here, so I don't know if he watched the full match yet. But because he came late to the pay-per-view that night. But yeah, it's a great match. So definitely go back and watch that. The House of Black match was fun. It was the House of Black versus Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe. They actually defeated them. The house always wins, actually, this time. Willow Nightingale defeated Julia Hart. It seemed sudden to me, and I'm not sure it sits well yet that Julia Hart's not the champion anymore because I think she's done amazing with that belt. But I also want her far away from Willow and whatever her name is now. Mercedes. Because it's one of those angles where, hey, they have this whole history that you don't know about. And we're going to tell you intermittently through promos why you should care that these two are fighting again. Yes, it was the last match that Mercedes had was with Willow where she got that injury that could have ended her career. Who knows? It was a tough road back for her. But it all happened in another promotion somewhere else. So a lot of people missed it. It's not the casual fan doesn't know. So it's one of those angles. slightly better than Deonna Purrazzo walking right into this program with Toni Storm. I'm still not impressed by what they've been doing with Deonna so far.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, I'm sad Julia's not the champion, but at least she's away from all that. So hopefully whatever's next for her. Roderick Strong is doing amazing. He's the reason to keep paying attention to Undisputed Kingdom. He did defeat Kyle O'Reilly. It was a really good match, and you could tell it was a match between two people that have been wrestling each other for decades. So it's a fun watch, even if you weren't interested in the story. Jericho Hook, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do. They have to revamp Hook so much. This could be Jericho's greatest challenge. it's trying to fix Hook. So the bat signal is not enough.
So is it fair to say that you're like in the minority of like being okay with Jericho winning the title? Because the reaction after that was, I don't know about surprising. It depends on what side of the road you're on. But I know there was a lot of people upset with that win. So how are you feeling with that?
Jericho holding anything from a clipboard to this belt is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho having this belt helps. People are saying the words FTW now because Jericho is holding this belt.
That says a lot as well, and that says a lot because of Taz and Hook have been trying to get over this belt for a long time now, and nobody seems to like really actually have reacted very much to it, except when Jericho took it.
Well, it hamstrings itself because every time an announcer says or Excalibur says FTW Championship, they remind us all that it's not recognized by AEW. So here's this champion, but nobody recognizes the belt or the division, so you don't have to care about it either. Meanwhile, he's champion. Like it's a weird thing that they start you off with when you're trying to learn about this belt.
And for what it's worth, I mean, let's not forget the inaugural AEW champion. It was Jericho. I forgot who he faced. It was Hangman, was it not? In that first defense, like who Jericho beat. Wow, I got you guys
so long ago.
2019. I know. Damn, did I get you guys?
2019. The world fell apart. AEW hung around, and it's still here. So there's a big gap.
20. Yeah.
And Jose, you are correct. Chris Jericho did pin Hangman Adam Page to become the first AEW World Champion at All Out Chicago.
Look at that. And so the reason why I bring that up is because I remember me being intrigued with AEW at the time, and I'm saying, why don't you give it to Hangman Page? Give it to somebody who could define this new era and who could who deserves to go forward in their career. But they put it on Jericho because again, they wanted AEW on the map because Jericho's a more recognized star.
Yeah.
And so
a casual fan knows Chris Jericho, whether he's in WCW, still WWE, or whatever. So
or Dancing with the Stars.
Oh my God! So I wow.
Or the awesome sitcom, I'm Chris Jericho. Find it; it's hilarious.
Oh my!
Oh boy! Oh yeah, CBC.
But I'm Chris Jericho. Yeah.
The point is that like when you bring that up, saying how that belt needs to be put on need to be relevant. It makes sense, given their history and what they did with Chris Jericho and the AEW World Championship. That said, not the greatest look when your fans are chanting "Please retire." Not the best.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
But given the right thing, he can turn them again.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. That's a kind of heat you can work with, or make sure you're actively working against it. But
unless you're Ryback
or Big Show, and so Big Show got Please Retire chance too. But if you're going to repackage Hook, he has to be chasing something. So he needed to not have the belt anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the belt is, and if it's the FTW belt, FTW belt, he needs to be chasing it for people to care again. So you got to put it on the villain, which will be Jericho in this case. So, and if he's already getting Please Retire things, then they might just use that and capitalize that. But I mean, calling himself the Learning Tree is just perfect. It's the most obnoxious, arrogant name you could give yourself, and I love it. So yeah.
And that's the thing.
Learning Tree, Chris. It's on the marquee. It's great.
Exactly, and that's the thing that Chris Jericho really brings to the wrestling industry. It doesn't matter which company he's working for. It's he's Madonna. He's the guy that can reinvent himself over and over and over again, and everything will be fresh every single time he does it. Now that's the thing is what now. Contrast that with what Hook's been doing. It's and for those of you who've listened to this show and in the past, I have not been a fan of Hook because there's nothing I can see in his character that'll jump out at me as opposed to just being broody, just anything. just the guy who's brooding all the time.
His dad gets shoved down. He just had knee surgery, so he can't do anything about it. And he continues to eat his chips while standing in the corner turnbuckle. Like, what? Your dad getting smacked around still doesn't elicit a response of any kind. Why are we supposed to care? It was a weird acting choice or whatever you want to call it.
And good chips.
I guess I didn't catch the brand, so they didn't even sponsor it correctly. So he can't even hold a product right for a proper placement.
I got learn stuff.
Learn something. Curious. He's got to learn something from Triple H. Triple H used to always hold the Aquafina bottle in a certain way that you could see that it was Aquafina. And then there's that one week they didn't have Aquafina. He used Dasani, and it looked weird.
Exactly. It's all there. We see everything. It registers, and if you're cursed by noticing the finer details, you're haunted by it. So yeah, he couldn't even product placement. Come on, if Wayne's World taught us anything, product placement. I got all the references, folks. But yeah, so I mean, I'm excited. I'm not even excited. I'm interested to see what Jericho does with it. But yeah, again, Hook will be his greatest challenge to date. I think he had an easier time with Fandango.
Wow.
Oh my goodness gracious. That's
right.
That's a line. I like that.
Yeah,
that is a line.
We'll make a short out of that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's already. It was already in my mind. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I got content.
I can work with you, Mr. Director of digital stuff. I don't understand. Yeah.
Ringside Heat on Newstalk Sauga 960 AM. We're talking about AEW Dynasty with Jose, Colin, and myself, Lex. Also, Toni Storm. We were talking about this. The work that she's been able to do with her character, contrasting that with the work that Hook's done with his character. Toni Storm has been amazing at the way that she's been able to really develop the Toni Storm character, and the fact that she's that she continues to be on this run that she has. Congratulations to her.
It's the first time she has my undivided attention, and I've seen her with her time in WWE and all that kind of stuff. And I thought the gimmick, I don't care. Yes, she always had a great match, but I mean, as a wrestler, a pro wrestler, a sports entertainer, a blah blah blah, you have to have both. And finally, for me, this gimmick, I absolutely love it. But also, I think depending on the match, her gimmick overtakes her wrestling ability. But this match with Thunder Rosa, this was a wrestling match. It was a really good match. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't, we're just waiting for her to throw a shoe or Luther or whatever to do something, whatever his name is. And yeah, so we weren't waiting for the shenanigans. It was just waiting for that or Mariah May to come down and do something. It was just a full-on knockdown drag out, and yeah, it was a very good match. Thunder Rosa looking like she hasn't missed a step at all, so that's a testament to her as well. So yeah, a good match to watch, and of course, Toni Storm still champion. Be stupid to take it off her right now. She has to be the villain that everybody has to try to conquer for the time being. So will she go 4 or 5 years? I don't think so, but yeah.
But Thunder as champion, Thunder in that match, though, I remember her talking about this week on Busted Open Radio, and Thunder was talking about her process and her mindset and everything, and she sounds like she sounds so confident in herself and so proud of what she's been able to do with Toni Storm, and that's something I really, really love and respect about those two and the match that they gave us at AEW Dynasty.
Yeah, and I think coming back from a long injury rehab, you have to worry about there's that fear. I mean, Lita had spoken where her wrestling definitely changed after coming back from her injury and stuff like that. It took a long time, or if she ever did regain that full confidence. So depending on how bad the injury is, the recovery and rehab back can be just as devastating too, as we've heard from many different of the talents.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Swerve Strickland, new AEW champion as well. So congratulations to Swerve. A lot of hard work going into that.
I know, and I know I've said this comment to you guys before in our chats, but it really feels to me with what happened since, he's just like Drew, where he's a brand new awesome champion in an empty arena. But I think he wishes the arenas were empty, because what TK and the gang have been doing, I don't know if I would want to be champion of AEW right now. You know? Okay, represent this now, please, Mr. Strickland. What are you doing? You know?
A reminder to everybody that Colin's the AEW guy.
Hey, you all know if I don't like it, I'll say something. I make fun of Undertaker too. It just doesn't come up a lot. So
fair.
Look up Undertaker pillow fighting. It's good. It's a good time.
This isn't one of those WWE animation thingies, is there, on the network? Is it?
No. This is Jimmy Kimmel back in Jimmy Kimmel Man Show days.
Oh, like the Man Show. Yeah. Colin sent that to us last night in the group chat. I've never seen it. I had no idea it existed. For what it's worth, Jimmy Kimmel's my go-to late night talk show host. I think he's great. I know that's apparently controversial. But no, I saw that, and Cousin Sal just took some ugly shots to Taker. He went for it to Austin and Goldberg, and it's like, sheesh.
Yeah.
Was this before Win Ben Stein's money?
This might have been after, because he wasn't doing any late shows when he was doing Ben Stein's money. So Ben Stein's was before the Man Show. As we turn this into a Jimmy Kimmel tribute episode. But one other highlight for this pay-per-view though is actually also the longest match, and rightfully so. Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson.
Oh wow, yes.
I was the most worried about this match, because Will Ospreay versus Takeshita scared me with how reckless maybe he's going to be. But this match had incredible, insane things, but also looked like one of the safest things that I've ever seen Ospreay done, but I haven't seen everything that Ospreay's done. But I think one of the most safer matches that I've ever seen. But a fantastic match, and Will Ospreay defeated Bryan Danielson. His resume ever more impressive, and then they even did a kayfabe injury. Ospreay's taken one of his finishers out of his roster, and this whole thing. But fantastic match. Definitely go back, watch that one, watch Okada and Pac, and watch Swerve and Samoa Joe. That was also a very good match. Only 18 minutes. It wasn't too short. It definitely wasn't longer than it needed to be. They had to follow the useless match of the night. In spite of itself, Dynasty, solid B. I'm going to do a rating system. I won't do stars, because stars are stupid. But
speaking of stars, 6.5 stars for Ospreay and Danielson from Mr. Meltzer himself of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. 6.5 stars. Yeah, look at that, folks. Yeah. Look at that. Now, I will admit, and I do apologize, and I know I am about to get flack from the both of you. I didn't see the match.
That's okay.
Well, you were doing something else for the show.
Well, yeah. John and I started to create content on the side. So, like, when we started recording, and again, like I wanted to respect everybody's time, and of course we had a lot to record. But I looked up at my TV, I saw what match was on. I'm going, oh crap! Oh god, damn it! That's tough timing, but it's okay. I'll get it when I can. I didn't even know who won the match.
I spoiled it for you. Oh, well.
It's okay. How dare? No,
it's the journey. Those guys. It's not so much the salute. It's not so much the ending, but it's the journey with those guys. Holy mother, what a journey!
And look, that's the fun thing about wrestling. Like, you could literally be spoiled the match. Like, go ahead, get spoiled, or even if the match is so brutally honest, like obvious as to who's gonna win, it's all about like the in between from the start of the bell to the end of the bell, right? So
Well, that's the spectacle part of it, right? And you want to see it happen. You want to see how it got pulled off.
And I'll say this, and I want to echo. This was a comment, a friend of mine, and his comment. I do want to echo his comments. You had Ospreay and Danielson, which was amazing in that way, in terms of like the wrestling standpoint, and then you have Cody and Roman, whose main event match was special and amazing from their own way, from the story perspective, and in their pacing. So it's great that you have two literally great examples of like incredible over the top matches from different perspectives that can still give you the same result of satisfaction, of happiness, and overall general recommendation. So I'm pretty sure that if I were to tell you, Colin, hey, go watch Cody Roman, you know who won, but the journey in that match to get to that point is incredible. And I know you're telling that to me for Ospreay and Danielson, and I do got to watch that. So
well, that's another great thing about wrestling. There's a lot of ways to accomplish what you said, to be satisfied by it, to be a rewatchable match. You know, there's matches out there that you actually forget who wins, but you rewatch it all the time anyway. Like, I don't know, pick one of the many TLC matches or something like that. Not just the X7 one, but you remember the spot of the spear off the ladder, but you may not remember exactly who wins all the time. You know what I mean?
Fair, of course.
You're going to remember the spot in the middle of it, you know? So.
Yeah, for sure. For example, like Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. I always keep thinking that HBK won, and I keep forgetting that Razor was the one that stole that win.
That's right.
Yes. 10, right? But that's an example right there. So I do have to watch that match. I do.
Mm-hmm. Ringside Heat and News Talk Sauga 960 AM. We're going to take a short break soon, but before we do, this coming Wednesday is going to be May the 1st, 2024, and that will be our 3-year anniversary on the air on Sauga 960 AM. So very, very happy to be able to say this, and very, very happy to see that we've been able to grow the show and able to grow with you as well, our faithful and loyal listeners. And one of those things that we'll be doing to celebrate, we possibly are going to do a live stream recording of the show, which will be our anniversary show, I guess, in that sort of way. So that will be a whole thing that we would love to have you join us up with. And I want to harken back to what I said on that very first episode, which you can see actually with Jose and John doing their little retrospectives of our earliest episodes and going through
critiqued Lex.
That's right. One thing I will say is that the opening monologue, the last thing I said there was wrestling is art. And we have great examples of what you guys have been talking about with Ospreay and Danielson, with Cody and Roman, WrestleMania Sunday. That is wrestling in art form, and it's beautiful. When we come back, we'll talk about the negative side of what happened at AEW this week. Unfortunately, I had to spoil it. Shout out to Jose, what he said earlier. Open up that Johnny Cash magazine. But we'll have to talk about that. But we'll do that after we get back from the break here on News Talk Sauga 960 after these promotional considerations. Welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM on YouTube, on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. My name is Lex Tan, host and producer of the show. Follow me at Lex Tan Media. Follow the show at Ringside_Heat. Of course, we've got the ring crew here of Jose at Taboada 93, our resident sports journalist, and as I've christened him, the director of digital operations, or whatever, or whatever I said.
The director of digital content.
There you go.
He's already ordered the business cards. It's out of hand now.
Sorry, I was thinking Santino Marella again.
Well, I mean, like I'm in the middle of editing something here and there that the guys know that I hope to reveal soon. So I think I know in those edits that in this small project I'm working on that I know I can update a title. So.
And we've got also our AEW Impact Wrestling. I'm sorry, TNA Wrestling expert now.
Don't tell Chico this way.
Yeah, don't tell him live on Sauga 960 AM that this is happening. Oh darn! Oh, the misery.
At Risen72, Colin Dodge. And before we get into a topic that will that will definitely get us heated, and I'm heated about this topic too. First off, I want to just make sure I thank Unified Pro Wrestling and Chaos Pro Wrestling, and having me do play-by-play for Space Slam on Friday night. It was a great show in Oshawa, right outdoors of the Melody Rehearsal Studio. We had a great crowd in the outside, in the field and everything. And Andrew Love, big shout out to you, because my goodness gracious, that hardcore match that you had with that you had was amazing, and what a spot to end it off. It was a he calls it the Pepsi plunge. It was a pedigree from the second rope onto a closet door that was bridged by 2 steel chairs. Oh, it was a sick it was a sick spot, man.
Question for you, Lex. Because unfortunately I wasn't able to go, but I was out Friday night. I was out watching the Blue Jays lose 12-2. And I noticed that on the way out, it felt a little windy, felt a little chilly. So did you feel like you were back at WrestleMania with an outdoor event?
WrestleMania Night 2.
Yeah, was it cold?
It was chilly, but it wasn't like it wasn't bad. It wasn't too bad, honestly.
Good.
But at the same time, I was just so into the matches. The matches were great. The talent's great over there, and it's so I was so into that like the last thing I was thinking about was the cold. It was just
good because I know from the area that there's a lake nearby. So I'm like, oh my goodness, the wind, the lake is probably going to make it a little bit chillier with the winds, but good stuff.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah,
and thank you as well to New School Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Standoff. That's New School Wrestling, which is Bone Crusher Steve Brown. Pro Wrestling Standoff, that's Iron Cowboy Gunnar Lang, for having me do play-by-play for their first show in Stouffville, for the first wrestling show in Stouffville since the 1970s. Okay,
wow.
So yesterday, last night, Saturday night, historic night, great card. Leo Rush was on the card, and I'm just and honestly, just being able to call a match that features a former WWE talent, just like I did for Eric Rowan last year. That's just it's just an honor. It's just a privilege, and thank you so much. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Now, and also, again, thank you to Andrew Love, and thank you to Daniel Dart, who is the promoter of Unified Pro, for having me on the show as well. And looking forward to working with all of you guys yet again very, very soon. But for now, we've got to go and talk about begrudgingly talk about what happened this week.
We do, Colin.
Last Friday.
We do.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. I look, man. Like,
why did I come back? What did I come back to? This was worse.
Look, man.
You came back for TNA. How about that?
All right.
I know for a fact that if WWE did something like this, we'd be on it too. There's no doubt about it. Come on.
No, we have to.
That said, regarding the message.
Yeah. Jose, would you like to would you like to reveal what the quote was for those of you who for those listeners who haven't heard what Mr. Big Eyes with the neck brace said?
I do have to look it up. I wasn't ready for this, and maybe that's a great thing that I wasn't ready for this.
Wow.
Where was I? Just
director of digital content. You can't pull up a digital quote.
Hey. No, like it's
boom.
Yeah, I got on there. I did. Look, well, look, it's
that's why I came back. Okay, all right. I'm good.
Like we know it's bad. Like we just know it's just annoying. And again, I'm gonna ramble on a little bit and just saying that it's frustrating that it's that this is happening. Well, that it's happened. Well, I don't want to say it's happened again, because this quote is really like continuing, sure, but it's weirdly unique. I got it here. Here we go.
Yeah,
Tony Khan on the NFL Network this past Friday. Again, for those who don't know, the NFL Network, it is literally a network for the National Football League. The NFL in the middle of their, or at least on the tail end of it now, of the 2024 NFL Draft. Tony Khan was selling the Meltzer driver, or the Tony Khan driver, whatever it's called, by wearing a neck brace while he was in the Jaguars draft room, which, again, fantastic. I want to.
That was great.
Yes, that is. Yes, I agree.
Brilliant. All
that
right,
was turning things around
for 2 days. You had the NFL world focusing on AEW, not WWE.
That's right.
AEW.
Yep.
Brilliant. And you had Rich
First
Eisen.
time ever.
You had the NFL Network's Rich Eisen going through the whole thing. Even the Pat McAfee show was bringing it up as well on their live stream of round 1 on Friday night.
Brilliant.
Again, it's fantastic. It's great. You're getting the publicity. You know what? This is what you need. What could you possibly say?
And the pop culture, the pop culture, I guess, awareness of it. That was a great way to do it.
Absolutely. So it was such a good move, and I love that kayfabe can still live in 2024 for 25 minutes on a global scale. Here's the quote: "We're like the Pepsi of pro wrestling, and we're really up against a really evil juggernaut. WWE is like the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling."
Why?
Now,
why?
I can't emphasize this enough that obviously Harvey Weinstein is one of the most evil people on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and us being upset at the quote, I can't believe I have to say this, but I feel like I have to just in case. Us being mad at the quote does not mean by any chance, especially on any of the crew here, that we're weirdly defending or we're weirdly like
we are definitely not. We are definitely
right.
not.
It's horrific. It's such a sad situation with what on in Hollywood, and of course, I think one of the reasons why this was said was because of what's been going on with Vince McMahon. And again, I don't even to repeat that. And again, also as well, I wanted to say it again that obviously everybody here at Ringside Heat does not condone and is still really pissed off and hurt about what McMahon went on, regardless of what went on in his history.
Yeah.
The anger is invoking all of those real, actual problems and tragedies to get a company over,
to get heat, to get clicks, and
it's the lowest form of like cheap heat. And anyway, sorry, Jose, go ahead.
No. Thank you. I was honestly struggling to find a word, so thank you. And I've seen people defend the quote, saying, "Well, look what Vince McMahon did, right? Look at WWE's, look how WWE's involved in that." One, I think WWE's involved just because he was part of the company. Two, Vince McMahon has officially cut all ties after selling his last share of stocks with WWE and TKO, which phenomenal, to be honest with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to discredit, like I think I just want to have to discredit all that he's done because it's just I think in my opinion it's the right move, but again that's my personal opinion. To me, I think the quote is unfair because of the hard work that everybody else has been doing to try to get rid of that image of Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
From title changes to booking to presentation to approach and again, like I know Triple H will always have the affiliation because yes, that is his father-in-law for sure. But and yeah, you could even maybe argue that, and I don't want to, that maybe somewhere around this could be some sort of connection because of the whole thing. But when you see Triple H, you know, doing all these changes, make like different presentation, approaching booking, like everything, the smallest details alive,
even bringing back the term professional wrestling,
right?
Entertainment.
It goes to show that Triple H, again, maybe so. I obviously can't speak for him, but you can tell that he's hurt by it. You can tell that he just wants a new direction for this company to grow and move past. It's literally a new era of WWE. To make that quote, to me, it's like it is not fair to the talent that have that are trying to step up and try to just put on a great show. It's not fair to the new management and executives of people that have overtaken the corruptness of the past, and again put their foot forward and move forward. Right? It's not fair to the current regime of booking and talent who again want to put their foot forward.
Look at CM Punk.
I don't know if that's the right word to use with all his stuff going on behind the scenes, but I get your point. But like it's just hurtful, and Tony was given such a prime opportunity to just forget about WWE and just promote AEW. It's brilliant. I was intrigued by the fact I didn't find out until like the day after that. Oh wait, Tony Khan actually took a couple bumps, and for those that say, well, hey, he's said on record that he's never wanted to be a part of involved. He's never wanted to be involved in storylines, be on camera stuff. People change their opinions, and sometimes if the decision's right and you have to kind of quote unquote go hypocritical, go for it. This works. This makes sense with Jack Perry. The lines
never say never, and that's
basically
the WWE thing. That's a wrestling thing,
right? And the lines were blurred, and now that the fact that they're going to feed into this in a kayfabe way with Jack Perry, go for it. WWE's done it before. Go for it. It's working. And again, like I was intrigued. I'm like, well done.
Yeah.
Well done. And for Tony Khan to just kind of make sure that he has to put his stamp over and kind of downplay WWE. And I know shots are a thing in professional wrestling, but still I think there's better ways to approach it if you are going to take shots.
There was a line he crossed. He crossed a bad line.
I.e. Tony Storm, I thought was brilliant. I know the Ospreay comments were a little bit weird, but also Triple H says some stuff too. So shots are going to happen no matter what. Just I guess.
But those were just minor, cheap shots, locker room talk, whatever you want to like the Ospreay and Triple H, whatever that was. That's nothing. That's just silliness.
It's
right?
so frustrating. And I'll say this to the people defending it and going on social media saying that was the right thing to say because of all that.
No,
respectfully, screw you.
No. Yeah,
they need to touch grass.
Screw you. It's and by us getting mad at that comment, it's not us defending what Vince did.
Any of those monsters. No.
Anybody. Like, it's not defending Weinstein. It's not defending McMahon. It's just us saying, why did these lines need to be crossed? Why? Yeah. Why do we need to make such a harsh comparison for the sake of putting your brand over? There's other ways to get cheap heat. That wasn't it. So here we go again. I think now for a record 4th or 5th time on this show, I am ranting about Tony Khan again. And it is frustrating. I've lost count. I know we ranted about I put in the short my rant last week, and then in that reel I put another rant from episode 120. Here we are now. So I'm rambling on. I don't like to ramble on a lot because I want to give you guys time to talk, but somebody else go. But it's just it's frustrating. So
AEW now needs to succeed in spite of its owner, which is never a good thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. The EVP thing, I've compared them to late stage NWO. Like, okay, great, you're evil, whatever. I'm not interested. It doesn't, So you beat up the boss, and Luke Perry's son is back. Okay, great.
Wow, Luke Perry's son is back.
Krusty the Clown's nephew.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Krusty the Clown's nephew. Know him. Owes him $5. Anyway, so tribute to the Simpsons as well. Jamie Kimmel's Simpsons. See what else we can knock out. But yeah, I mean, it's such a shame, and I can't help but think of the recent, rah let's go speeches from Adam Copeland and John Moxley, and then this happens, and it's like we're, But I'm all for, aside from TK's insanity, I'm all for like the EVP storyline. Okay, great. Yeah. Have you need a villain faction, so like all that is fine. Okada's in there. They're beating up the boss. That's fine.
The authority.
Bring in another guy. Yeah,
the authority in the 2010s. It works.
Exactly.
And
it's the corporate DX. It's all that kind of stuff. Corporate ministry. It's all that kind of thing. Like whatever, fine.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is like that storyline does work, and it would be a lot better if they hadn't had to resort to using the footage from All In.
And that's the thing. It's all this. 80% of it is fine. It's these unnecessary All In footage. The cheap NFL comment on the NFL Network is undercutting the good things that were done. Like it should have stopped at the neck brace and maybe even not mention what happened at Dynasty. It could have been played off like, I don't want to talk about this injury kind of thing. And then everybody else can run footage on the news outlets for what happened at the following Dynamite and just do it that way. No comment need to happen. A comment bringing up actual real horrible tragedy to essentially sell t-shirts. I'm sorry, wrestling companies sell t-shirts. That's what it is. It's merch.
It's not a good look when the anchors of the NFL Network are trying to rush the interview. Now all of a sudden they're like, if you see the video, like it's a good cadence, it's a good pace with the interview, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, we gotta go. And apparently the producers of the NFL Network liked it, which okay, whatever. I don't want to quote that. So, but like I think I read that, but regardless, it's like it's not necessarily like, regardless of who was happy or who was not with it, producer wise or entertainment wise, at the end of the day, it's what the reaction of, I hate saying this, the IWC is. And if it's not a positive reaction, it's going to trickle down and lead to long-term effects of like, I can't watch this. I'm tired of this. Right.
I mean, the loudest voices aren't the majority of voices. It's just that the majority of people don't have time for this nonsense. So it's the loudest voices that win. And the NFL Network apparently thinks this is a win. Maybe. I don't. I feel flush. I'm angry.
Yeah, exactly. And well, okay. I mean, we're running out of time here on the radio side of it over here, but if there's anything else that you guys want to say, we can just put that on the other side of the bonus content area of the podcast area, because I have something to say as well too. But of course, we've run out of time. But we want to thank Jose at Taboada 93. Colin at Risen 72, and all of you listeners for tuning in, clicking on our podcast, and spending some time talking about wrestling with us. Thank you so much to Sauga 960 for giving us the time on the air, and for 3 years on the air. This is great. This is beautiful, and we are very, very grateful. We don't take it for granted, and we hope to continue this great relationship with you guys, and we hope to talk to you again very, very soon. Hopefully this coming Wednesday, and of course Sunday. So my name is Lex Tan. Follow me at Lex Tan Media. Follow the show at Ringside_Heat. This was Ringside Heat of Newstock Sauga 960 AM, and we remember the things that you forgot. And welcome back for some bonus content here on the Ringside Heat bonus content podcast, and also on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts and wherever you watch this. My name is Lex Tan, alongside Jose and alongside Colin. And
we're still angry.
Yes, we are. My God, we are angry. I haven't even got to my rant yet.
Oh, that's so good.
You've angered our new digital director of something. What is your title again? I know you just had a hoodie made. What is it?
Director of digital content.
There you go. Yeah, there we go. And new director of digital content.
I do like that whole director of digital operations, kind of like that whole Santino Morella thing. But anyway,
am I excited for monetization? Boy, are we gonna have talks? I'm kidding.
I'll sell MeUndies. I'll sell anything.
Oh boy. And there you go. See, ladies and gentlemen, we're using humor to deal with our obvious anger toward things that happen with Tony Khan and Jose. Thank you so much for that for what you were saying earlier during the radio side of the broadcast. And it was definitely a great way way that you've been able to elocute that and give it and put that in a great perspective. And Colin as well. Colin as well. I know you were getting into something, but we had to go cut it off for radio time. Is there anything you wanted to add to what you're saying?
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's this weird thing. Like, I remember the last time, like right post Attitude Era, and then going into the Ruthless Aggression Era. It was just that changing of it, Stone Cold was gone, all that kind of stuff. And it was just like, I'm not interested and all that. And you come back to it and, not to allude to things that make us angry, but like the people powered nonsense and all that kind of thing.
Oh,
and
the era after.
So like those kind of eras and the start of the Authority kind of thing. And I mean, I see now, like, of course, it happened with DX. Like, Triple H was such the perfect villain that, like, it angered me that he was on TV and that he had the belt and all that kind of stuff. And then by extension, of course, Stephanie also did a great job where it angered me that she's in charge and slapping Mick Foley. How dare you touch Mrs. Foley's baby boy, you know? And
that screech, the way her voice screeches as well too.
Oh, the screech! My God,
like she can't reach those tones anymore. But man,
yeah,
back in the day,
like put Vicky in her place. I thought, but anyway, everybody loves Vicky. I don't care who you are. So anyway. So like there's dips and all that kind of stuff, but there's always like things to enjoy in spite of what's happening like on the top end kind of thing, right? Like you have Jericho listing his thousands of moves while NWO is being insane in the background. You know what I mean? Like, so there's always something to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunately in its 5th year, we're already seeing that pattern now in AEW, where now I have to ignore EVPs and TK nonsense so I can enjoy Pac being back, or I can enjoy House of Black, or I can enjoy Timeless Tony Storm and all that kind of thing. Like I have to wade through nonsense. Still, it's the least amount, but it makes such big noise. That's where most of my frustration is. It's like, I just, I want it to be stuff I'm not interested in. Fine, fast forward. Go do the dishes, my classic go-to for a match I don't care about.
Always
go do
dishes.
a chore. Yeah,
always
I always got some dishes. There's a teacup always somewhere.
I'm a little bit concerned how many dishes you have, but continue.
It's surprisingly a lot amount. I don't have a lot of people in this apartment. So,
That's why I say that.
Yeah, maybe I'm lazy. I do a lot of dishes. Maybe I don't. Maybe
it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, considering
them,
considering TK, I expect your dishes to be spotless.
Oh, I think I need to buy more dishes just to cover an entire Dynamite episode now. But
God.
Bring back AEW Dark. It was so much simpler then.
Forgot about that. Goodness gracious.
So, and like, yeah, like it's the empty stadium Drew's the champion kind of thing. Like what did poor Swerve inherit? And Samoa's like, guess what? I'm gonna go do more episodes of what's the show he did? That was a video game. I can't think of it now. He was the clown.
Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Yes. So yeah, I'm sure there's another scene of Twisted Metal that Joe can go work on now. But yeah, so like, what did poor Swerve inherit? And yeah, I don't know. I just feel bad, and this, I was feeling bad, which is why I stopped watching WWE. I can't be feeling bad watching AEW now. What's left? I have to start watching cricket. I don't know. Can we have a cricket segment?
Hey, I had a hockey segment earlier, so
everything should have a hockey segment. Hockey's the best sport ever.
It's not a sport I go to, but I heard it's good. I
can't understand it, but
I just stick with baseball.
There's a lot of fans. I can bring the numbers with cricket, maybe.
And multicultural fan base too.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll go worldwide overnight.
Look, I know that we also live in an era where it's like you're angry. You're angry for that minute. You go to bed. You wake up. All right, what's up? What else? And it sucks.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, I know there are some special exclusions where, like, yes, it's something that you need to bring awareness to every day to remind yourself of the irony, to remind yourself of the horror, which, again, ironically, it's the whole Vince McMahon, Harvey Weinstein stuff, right? It's like it's stuff like that where it's like, you shouldn't put this, because that's such a horrible thing, right?
Yeah.
But with stuff like this, it's like unless, and oh god, I want to knock on, unless Tony Khan does something like absolutely like stupid that like is like highly illegal, then it's in 1 year, out the next, and then onwards to whatever is on to the next controversial thing.
Stupid things to do,
right? Well,
he's hitting them all pretty quick.
Yeah.
Sir.
As long as he doesn't commit crimes. That's what I'm saying. Like that's not that I think he will, but
but here's the thing, though.
Don't all billionaires commit crimes? I don't know. Sorry.
Regardless if he has committed a crime or didn't commit a crime or whatnot, what his words were, it was a crossing of a line that that, as you said, as you guys said, it was unnecessary, and it brings back. Here's the thing: now, when you look at what WrestleMania has been able to do, and when you see what The Rock and Triple H, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns were able to do over these past 4 months in WWE since the pandemic finished up and everything, and we started going back to the arenas, we started seeing a new side of WWE, an elevated form of WWE that was developing and developing and developing, and it culminated at WrestleMania 40 in the new era that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, the daughter, the $1 billion princess, was wanted to put forth with WWE and with that company, and it was beautiful to see. It was beautiful to witness live. It was beautiful to have that experience, not just in the live shows, but also on TV. And then you follow that up with the great wrestling that we saw with TNA and with TNA and with AEW and their first pay-per-views post WrestleMania. And you think that, like, that those things could be good for the industry. And then you have Tony Khan, who seemingly seems like a genuinely good person, at least from what I've from how I've interacted with him, and the way that AEW, God bless the people over in the media team there, who gave us the opportunities to go to AEW shows and to interview talent and to be to be a presence in their press conferences. God bless them. But when you have Tony Khan doing stupid shenanigans in the way he did on Friday and with the words that he used, it's like it's like that leaves it does not leave just a bad taste in my mouth, but when it feels like he's set back his own company, and I guess not maybe not the genre pro wrestling, but he set something back within professional wrestling about 20-30 years, and it does not look good. It does not look good for any of us, especially with there's like a whole bunch of like people who dismiss it. They don't understand the genre. They don't understand the art form. They don't understand why we appreciate it and why we love this industry so much. That we want to do radio shows, that we want to do podcasts, that we want to get involved in the damn industry on the independent level, the lowest rung right now, but one of the best rungs in this entire industry. And you have somebody like Tony Khan almost at the very top, ruining it for the rest of us. Why? Yeah. God damn it, Tony Khan. Be better than this. WWE, the guys that you were calling evil, are better than this. You started this company to create competition in professional wrestling, and as a result, you helped bring this industry higher and higher than it's been in 20 some odd years, with WWE leading the way as well. But you as well have contributed to that. Now you want to contribute to its downfall? Hell no! Stop it, Tony Khan! Stop it!
My major concern from all of this as well is that he's being talked into releasing the footage, or like that comment on the NFL Network, because we've seen him in press conferences and we hear these like interviews and stuff from people on the roster that I honestly don't think have any kind of real reason to lie about a great place it is to work, how good he is as a boss to work with. Again, yeah, the press conferences, especially now, he doesn't rant on too long. The last one was under an hour, which is amazing. And so I'm just worried that there's somebody in his ear going and talked him into the footage stuff and talked him into has to be like a pre-written response kind of thing, that he was just waiting for an excuse to drop that or something like that. Like, I don't know. That's my concern there. So that if he's not even actually in control, or at least letting himself into these ideas, like, this is how we up the ante with this war with WWE that doesn't exist. apples and oranges. Your job is to be second. Your job is to be the other place to work. You're providing work, another place to work for wrestlers, because not every wrestler can be in WWE. Not every wrestler can be in AEW. Not every wrestler can be in TNA and whatever. There's a reason why there's the big guys, there's the indie promotions and all that kind of stuff. It's all different places to work. So if you have the responsibility of providing gainful employment for people in this industry, why are you doing things to wreck it? This is not the way to do it. There's so many better ways. Shows that swear every third word don't do as well as shows that put in a swear word where it makes the most sense. There's a time and place for everything. There's a time and place to execute things, to put a finer point on it, to really make it impactful. And if you're starting off, this is the problem I have with Max Caster and these insulting raps kind of thing. If that's all you do, then it's not going to be impactful anymore. And if you're starting at, the lowest point, can't even see it on my camera, like you're digging yourself too much of a hole. Like there's just smarter, better ways to do it. And it's extremely frustrating. I mean, it's frustrating defending yourself as a fan. It was frustrating watching Raw in my living room. And then I had to explain to my mother Sable's handprint bikini.
Oh boy.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
wow.
like but that's the thing, right? Or I have to explain, the live sex show.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah, no. This is a good show, Mom. It's okay for me to watch this kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so there's always going to be something. And like those were bad ideas and shouldn't have happened, and they got past them. And yes, I know those were two WWE examples, and there's plenty of AEW, and there's plenty of examples for all of that.
Of course.
And so it's just like, it's frustrating. And so now we're already 5 years in. We're now into this okay, ignore that part over here. All this stuff over here is really cool, and this is why I watch it. But it's that 20% that's making the most negative noise, and that's what's become popular, not the amazing Ospreay Bryan Danielson match. That's the example of why somebody should watch wrestling. Not this guy in a neck brace made a terrible joke, made a terrible comment. So yeah.
And that's what I was saying last week to you, Colin, is that as much as the casual fan, and I'm going to repeat what I said last week, as the casual fan, as much as I know there are so many positives, and as much as I know that there's so much goodness to explore, the negatives overtake that for me. And that's not a good thing, because like I said last week, and I'll say it, like I said last week, and I'll say it again this week, your job to me as a casual fan is to hook me in and keep me there at all times. And yes, and I know people have their biases, are going to be through that no matter what, but you also want to make sure that a person develops a new bias and develops a new routine and stays with that routine.
Yeah.
And right now for me, like, again, it's my opinion has not changed on that in 7 days, in a week. It's that, again, the negatives now somehow feel worse than last week. Well, and again, I know last week's episode was about something that happened a month before, and we only had the chance to talk about it then. But it's not good that this again is overtaking everything. It's telling me, great, I'm gonna just go for a walk or something. I'd rather do that or whatever. Yeah. It's frustrating that again, like, to the casual fans, it's not a good look, because you need to convince us that there's other options out there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because the NFL Network is not talking about the good matches. They're talking about the kerfuffle that was created by a needless,
not a lot
comment. Because that's what's hitting mainstream. Not, like, it's only the negative that's hitting the mainstream, and that's
right. Exactly. And again, like, I think Tony Khan being there with the neck brace was in a positive mainstream.
That was great.
That was fun.
Up until the comment, right?
That's the kayfabe brilliant move, and no comment with it.
Like I said on the radio recording earlier, is that that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
using kayfabe in 2024. Like, that's awesome. Like, it's
and letting people could see me, so people could talk about. And like, I'd rather Tony Khan be called an idiot because he looks dumb on camera trying to sell kayfabe because he's passionate about it, than calling calling Tony Khan dumb because of what he said. Like, I'm okay with God, he looks stupid, but well done. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with like saying like, God, you look like an idiot. Because it's in a positive way, because it's promoting.
But using
and
relatively
it's fun.
recent tragedy, I mean, to sell T-shirts, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it's probably because I'm coming near to the end of my work contract, so my future's a little in question now. That's what's bothering me most. He's providing a place of work, and he's jeopardizing it. That's driving me up the wall right now.
Exactly. If he jeopardizes that place of work, he's also jeopardizing that area of the industry.
Yeah.
Of an industry that has seen a great boom in the past 5 years. In the past 5 years, that okay, fine, the past 2 years, I have to say, but he contributed. But as I said, he contributed to that boom in professional wrestling again that we haven't seen in a long time, and we're enjoying the products at a level that we haven't in a while. And it's like, why are you trying to inject that lethal dose of poison?
Yeah. Good pull. But and it's not that I think the doors are about to shutter because of this or anything like that.
No, of course.
But it's the beginning of the wrong path.
Yes.
And if anything, things are now being made more difficult than they were 48 hours ago or whenever this comment was made or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
My concept of time is gone this decade anyway, so I can't even believe we're about to be 3 years. That's nuts to me. But
yes. But here's the thing. That's a great thing to celebrate. 3 years on the air, and I think this is I think of the 3 years on the air, this is the most heated I'd ever been about any sort of issue in wrestling. In terms of like in terms of anger, and in terms of me actually screaming in the way that happened that happened just now. And sorry for those of you who are wearing headphones right now. And
then worse than that, Jose and I agreeing on things. Like, we're in the upside down, folks.
Yes. Welcome to Bizarro World, which is a project that hopefully we can get off the ground this year, because you're gonna love us loving Toronto and being the birthplace of what we know today as WWE, at least in my theory. Anyway,
we have theories, folks.
Yes,
we all got theories.
Ringside Heat on Newstalk Sauga 960 AM, and also on YouTube and on Spotify. And we thank you for listening to us week to week again, and we thank you for staying around for more extra content over here on YouTube and on Spotify. We will be back later this week with some with an anniversary show. We're also going to be back as well too with interviews that I've got lined up over here with some of the independent promotions and personalities there. So stay tuned for those things. And of course, Jose and John and their Ringside Review podcast as well too. What's the entire? That's the right title. Am I correct?
Ringside Heat Way Back. We got episodes 3 and 4 coming to you later this week. Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll have that ready for you guys.
Yep. And so thank you so much to Jose, to John for doing that. Thank you to Colin for providing his 2 cents here on about AEW Dynasty and more.
The good part was Dynasty. And
that's
then
right.
Everything else. Yeah.
That's right. Thank you again to New School Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Standoff, Unified Pro Wrestling, and Chaos Pro Wrestling for having me at their shows and allowing me to do play-by-play and being able to meet wrestling fans from all over Ontario as well too, and bringing them to the show. Thank you so much for listening, and we will be back with more Ringside Heat coming up this week. And remember, we remember the things that you forgot.